Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Black. Today, we're going to talk about season 9, episode 3 of Ready to Love. This one starts off with people from the second episode coming to the brunch, anticipating the meeting of the people of the first episode. Now, before they get started, everyone's mingling around a little bit. Alonso, he approaches Patrice, and next thing you know, you hear a loud chair drop. You see it. I don't know why it sounded so loud, like a pin. You can hear a pin drop in there. But, he tried to bounce back by saying, "Hey, you made me nervous." Good comeback. I think the time was a little bit off. He should have said it as soon as that chair hit the ground. "Oh, you made me nervous." Kind of play it off that way because that little pause just says he was a little bit embarrassed by it. But it's okay. Players mess up too sometimes, like I said. Next we had up Chaz. Chaz and Laylleh were having a good conversation. Chaz tells Laylleh, "Hey, you're my type." Now, when you say you're my type, I love the fact that he says that he's attracted to her, but that's what he should have said. It. He should have said, "I'm attracted to him." I don't like the use of saying you're my type. And here's why. In the group setting like this, where you have more women that you're going to be attracted to, when Laylleh sees you with those other women, she's going to start to compare. Like, okay, he said I'm his type, but he also likes her. We're nothing alike. So are you the type of man that's going to tell me anything I want to hear? Or are you the type of man who just attracted to me, what I can take, versus you saying I'm your type and then you have a type that's not me? So something to think about, man. But fellas, I definitely say stay away from the word of "you're not my type" or "you are my type," because it just puts you in a bubble, in my humble opinion. All right, so next up we had Tommy. Tommy comes in, he introduces the people from the first episode. Finally, everyone gets to meet each other, right? Now, when they come in, the first thing Chaz does, he acknowledges Alexis. Now he says, "Oh yeah, I like her. I want to get to talk to her. I want to know her." But when you put Alexis and Laylleh together, they're nothing alike. This is a perfect example. Nothing alike. So to me, I think that Chaz can, he can get around. It's okay to mingle. It's okay to like more than one person. I'm not saying he can't, but it's just the wording. You have to be mindful of how you talk to women, fellas, because you say certain things and it comes off in a different way. So that intelligence of knowing how to talk to women is very necessary. So you got to be around more women, have interaction with more women, find out what women love, women like when it comes to men, and that's going to grow your knowledge on knowing how to talk to women. Just something to think about. Now, the other group comes in, and of course, the guys are acknowledging Mika. Okay, Mika is very attractive. I'll be one of the first to say it. But, when someone is obviously attractive, guys, you have to come up with better ways of acknowledging that attraction. Chaz, oh, just looking at you right now, I can tell you right now you're beautiful. Other people say, "Oh, you're very, very pretty." These are things that women tend to hear on a daily basis. That's why it's said that the only "you're beautiful" or "you're pretty" that matters is when it comes from their man, because they hear it all the time. So if you're trying to be that man, you have to be a little bit different. You have to do things that's going to stand out. With that being said, compliment her on her attire, her outfit. "Oh, you have a very, very pretty dress. So, oh, I love you in that color," or "the color brings out your eyes," or "love your hair." These other ways you can compliment a woman besides just saying she's pretty, besides just saying she's beautiful, because that's something that's heard a lot. And originality really plays a big part. If you want to be a man that stands out, you have to be original, you have to be creative, be truthful, but at the same time, those things are needed in order to get the attention of a woman that you would necessarily desire. All right, so next up, William gets Maya alone. And then William opens up, the energy is pretty cool with them, but William opens up about his adoption. He talks about his family. And like I said before, that vulnerability is good. Nothing is wrong with that. But opening up about certain things vulnerably can be, and too soon, can be devastating to the growth of that potential meeting between the two. And the reason why I say this is because you can't trust everyone with vulnerable information. Everyone has been hurt at one time or another by opening up too soon. So, as a life lesson, you have to have people that earn your vulnerability. Now, it's not to say you have to be closed up, you have to be a shell. I'm not saying that at all, but people have to earn your vulnerability. And I think that him coming out too soon with Maya about, everything, he's going on in his life, and opening up about that. That's a conversation could have been had a little bit further down the line, because people will tend to focus on that vulnerable piece instead of focusing on getting to know you better. So it's just something to really, really think about when it comes to vulnerability and opening it up in that first conversation. All right. So next up we have Will. He comes up, he approaches Vanessa. He said, "Hey man, have this seat." Now she was like, okay, please do. That please do for me, this one hidden for me. That would have been a very short interaction for me, because that please do says, I don't really want to talk to you, but you can go ahead and sit down. That's how I would take it. I don't know if anyone else caught that. Y'all let me know if you caught that. But Will comes in again with a second ugly shirt. What's going on? That means that made two of those. He might as well came in there with a Gordon Cortrell on after Denise put her hands on it. I just don't get it. But she just had that vibe to me that she wasn't in it. And I'm thinking it was because of that crocheted sweater shirt. So I think Will needs to go back in his closet and find something else to wear, man, to be honest with you. Because in his confessionals, his plain regular shirts, black shirts, whatever he has on, those are fine. But those sweaters are not hitting it, bro. All right, so next up, Mika and April talk to Jonathan about spinning the block. Like, why are they asking these type of questions? I don't get it. But because I mean, it comes off as a judging from your past, not your present, not who you are right now. And it's important to understand someone's past to understand it, but not to judge it, especially when you're looking for love. They asked him a question, has he ever been back with his baby mom? And again, I don't understand why they asked the question, but I also don't understand why Jonathan answered the question, because you just can't come to me and ask me anything you want if I don't want to answer the question, or the question makes me feel uncomfortable. Stand up for yourself, bro. Don't answer the question. Say, hey, I choose not to answer the question. So at that point, I thought that he exposed a little bit more of himself. I think that they already prejudged him. They already labeled him. And those are two women who's now looking at him differently. So he can't afford that type of damage in a show like this, because he can easily be voted off, or, they can easily talk to other women about this situation and then change the minds of those other women. So you have to be careful in the situation that you're in, and that vulnerability, or being open, or want to be transparent. Transparency is good in a relationship, but there's definitely a time and a place for everything. Okay, so Dominique comes in with Laylleh and asks her how many times you've been proposed to. I'm gonna guess at least 2 times. Why are you guessing? And why does it matter how many times she's been proposed to? See, this is what I'm saying, man. Guys, we have to do a better job of coming up with conversation that is meaningful, to finding out more about the person who you're interested in, because if she was proposed to 3 or 4 times, 6 times, it doesn't matter, it didn't go through. She's still single, she's right there in front of you. So why does that matter? To find out what type of person she is, you can ask more questions digging into her personality, character traits, and stuff like that. But the whole thing about who you were with before me, only question that I would like in the situation when it talks about an ex is, how long was your longest relationship? That type of question is one that's needed. It shows how much you're committed. How long can I see us being together? Those type of questions I get. But did you do this with this person? Did you do that with that person? What were you proposed to? That does not matter. So Dominique came off a little bit on the wrong side, and this man keep on throwing out those 2 to 10 kids like no one understands what he's saying, bro. When you say that, it's a wrap for most of these women. You gotta say, let's start with 2. Okay, and that's not to be manipulative, because if you're saying 2 to 10 and you want more than 2, say, okay, let's start with 2, because that's your starting point. So that 2 to 10 is just a bad way to start the conversation, man. Oh boy, now we have Lamar and April. They first start talking with April, running down her list of accomplishments and achievements, which again is not a bad thing. But when it comes to dating, it was said later in the episode that it does not matter to us as men. Now, it matters to me how intelligent a woman is, how she can conduct herself, how she can behave. But when it comes to what you've achieved, that's for corporate America. That's for that. Relationship and corporate America are two totally different things, ladies. So guys, keep that in mind. It's not that it's not important. It's not that we don't care to that extent. We care, but it's not a deciding factor for if we want to be with you or not. Um, now, April then starts asking this man all types of questions about his ex-wife. How long were you married? Um, what was your last relationship? And so like Lamar did what I felt that Jonathan should have done, which is put a pause on it, say, hold on. I don't want to answer that question. Now, I think it was a certain amount of rudeness that Lamar had when he said this, but I think that the point of him not wanting to answer the question should have been enough. It shouldn't have been a press or a push by April. A man said he don't want to answer the question. Okay, noted. Even if you did want to know the answer, him not answering it should give you the flag that you need to be able to move on past him or to respect it and move forward. So, at the same time, they were talking about the situation, and April decides to get up. She says, "Okay, I'm gonna leave." Okay, so fine, April. April gets up. She leaves. Lamar did not have to say dismiss. It's a level of maturity that you have to have as a man to know, okay, this is not worth the fight. This is not worth the energy. So Lamar is a little petty, goes tit for tat, and that's gonna get him in a lot of trouble in the future episodes. I really do feel that. All right. So up next we have Alonso, Jonathan, Alexis, and Koshia. They decide to go bowling. It's a double date, which is not a bad idea. I love the idea of going bowling. They're talking noise, they're talking mess, they're being competitive. It's all good and fun, right? But fellas, when you talk noise and jump, bro, you got to back that up. Them ladies whoop y'all to sleep. Plus, Koshia had form. Okay, so Koshia's form when she was bowling, when she bowled that first time, I'm like, oh yeah, she's gonna be a problem. So yeah, the ladies ended up winning. So that's that. But then we can move over to the conversations where Jonathan and Koshia was having a conversation, and Jonathan asked a good question. He asked, what's your love language? Koshia said it's quality time, and then Jonathan asked, okay, so why is that? Koshia did not know how to explain why it was quality time. It's not a hard question. I know some may feel that the QT is important for XYZ. It's important to me because I needed to feel secure in a relationship. I needed to feel safe in a relationship. So it's a reason for it, but why couldn't you say that reason? So you should know yourself, be self-aware. That's big for me. If a woman does not know herself, she's not self-assured and self-aware, then that's a big red flag for me. I can't deal. So they end up parting ways. They switch places, and then you know, Alonso, man, his jokes are just really, really flat. And the reason why they're flat because they tend to be immature jokes. I think if he added more maturity to the joke, there's nothing wrong with playing around, having a good time, and joking around with your date. But you need to have more mature jokes than what he's given because it was just a turnoff for Koshia. And later on, we see what happened between them as well. But I just think that his whole delivery comes off a little bit too playful, too silly, and too immature. And certain conversations are just not to be had in first interaction with somebody. And it's very off putting. Okay, so next we move over to Jonathan and Alexis. Now, Jonathan's level of conversation is completely different from Alonso. I like his questions. I like his, what are your love signs? How do you spend a Sunday afternoon with your significant other? What some ideas that come to mind? I love those. I love those. And I like the fact that Alexis responded with Sundays are really a chill day, and which I agree with that. I think that Sundays are chill days. You do very little work, very little effort goes into that day. You just want to enjoy each other. So I like the idea of the picnic. I like the idea of sitting there watching TV, just chilling. Those type of things come off, and it shows that the energy between those two are really, really good. So I'm kind of rooting for this team right here, man, Jonathan and Alexis, but we'll definitely see how things turn later on. All right, up next we have William, Lamar, Vanessa, and Patrice. Have a pretty good date as well. A painting, get a little messy, have some fun, good conversations can spark from that. Everything was going really well, man, until Lamar just spoiled it, with talks or conversations leaning towards the intimacy level or way. I just think that some of these guys, man, they just can't help themselves and just have these conversations about intimacy so soon and getting to know someone. I know it's very important to a relationship, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to have these conversations on the very first conversation or second conversation. But if you do, it's completely should be adult. It should make each other feel safe, feel comfortable in the conversation. Make sure that you introduce the conversation in a way that lets the other person know that, hey, these are some things I want to talk about. Doesn't necessarily mean I want to jump your bones. It just means that, hey, I want to have this discussion about X, Y, and Z. So with that being said, the guys have to do a better job, like I said, with talking to women in general. It's just not really productive. All right, so it's that time of the date where they switch places. Lamar comes over to talk to Vanessa, and William goes over to talk to Patrice. Now, William and Patrice interaction was cool. Patrice just give off that vibe that she gets along pretty much anyone. I'm really trying to understand why it is she's single, but I think we'll find it out probably later on. But as of right now, she seems pretty solid from what I can tell. She's fun. She seems really cool. But William, though, something about William just, I don't know what it is, man. I think when women look at a man, they want to see excitement. They want to see something that gravitates them towards that man. But with William, he seems a bit dull to me. Not saying he's a bad guy, but he just seems a bit on the dull side or the boring side at first glance. I'm just thinking how a woman would think when it comes to how they will see him. But you guys let me know in the comments, man. Let me know how you feel about William, any other cast members, and yeah, see if I'm off when it's saying that or if you guys agree. Um, Now Vanessa and Lamar interact, and Vanessa already gave those vibes early that, hey, this you're not my type. But Vanessa kept it cool. She wanted to know, okay, why was I at the bottom? Why was I being voted off? And he gave some good feedback. Lamar did when telling her, she's a bit guarded, and she did come off a bit guarded. She should have a little bit more fun. She has a beautiful smile. But she needs to let that smile work for her and bring out her personality a little bit more. But if this is it, this is her personality where it is, then it's not gonna work for most of the men. But as it's been said before, it takes the right man to bring out the personality of the right woman. So maybe the guy's just not doing it for her. Now, Willie and Patrice, that energy was pretty dope too. Like I said, man, Patrice just seemed like she got that vibe, man. She's going to be that person everyone pretty much gravitates towards because just her energy is like on an even level. It can go up one way. I haven't seen it go down. I just always see it go up, or it's either at a constant pace. So very interesting. But Willie is a cool guy. His personality is good. Um, but it's just that those shirts, man. All right, so up next we have LaRon and Patrice going on a date. So, fellas, I have to tell you this: when you are in a restaurant, you're meeting someone for dinner or brunch or lunch or whatever have you. When you're sitting down and that woman approaches the table, get your butt up, man. Stand up when a woman approaches the table. Allow her to sit, and then you sit back down. This is very old school. This is very traditional, but a woman needs to understand that you do have respect for her. And this is another way of standing out. You have to be able to stand out no matter if you're dating in a group setting like this or if you're dating independently. When you are dating someone and she's also dating other men and she's trying to vet to see which one is her going to be her potential partner, if you're really into her, you really like her, you have to do things that's going to set you apart from those other men. That's how you win. Okay, you're just gonna win just by showing up and say, "Hey, I'm LaRon. I know you want me." It doesn't work that way, bro. So, LaRon, you got to stand up And when she approaches the table, show that respect and then allow her to sit down. And then you sit down after she sits down. If she doesn't understand what you're doing, you can explain it to her, but you have to at least try, at least try. Now, LaRon, again, brother, we all like catfish. Okay. We do. I like fish just like the next man. But the way you were drooling, you kept bringing up the fish. I mean, how good was it? Did it have crack cocaine in it? What was in the fish, sir? Because you were doing too much. Your date was right there in front of you. All you had to do was give her attention, have a good conversation, and you would have been in there. But your lack of conversation, the lack of attention that you were giving her, and then when you did want to talk, you talked about the fact that you are a party guy and you're trying to change that. It comes off as if it's a possibility that you'll change, but it's not guaranteed because the vibe that you gave when giving that speech says that, hey, I'm a party guy. This is what I do, but I want to find someone who's going to make me, stop living that life. I want to put that life behind me. Okay, you got to do that for yourself. How about you stop the partying and then find a woman? You know what I'm saying? So you got to be laser focused and be understanding that that's a lifestyle that you enjoyed having, enjoyed doing. It's kind of hard to shut that button off, but you can shut it off if you say for instance, if you say that I had a party lifestyle, but for the past couple of months I've been chilling, I've been at the house, just doing my thing, getting my life together, whatever. That comes off a whole lot different than saying you need something or someone to get you to stop. If you can do it yourself, it comes off a lot better, it comes off a lot more mature, and it comes off a lot more focused. Another thing that I did not like when it comes to LaRon's behavior is all the swearing. You're on a date, fellas, you don't have to swear so much. Minimize the swearing because you want to also show that you have a vocabulary, that you have the ability to have conversations without using swearing words. So I just think he did that a little too much. He was like, I'm going to F this fish up. He just did too much for me. So I wouldn't be surprised if that information got back to other ladies. But I don't think that Patrice is the type that really just gives that much information, but who knows? Like I said, women will talk. So we'll see how LaRon pans out, man. But this is a horrible date in my eyes. And he's blaming Patrice, but he was really the one to blame. And that's the message that gets, mixed up when you have those deliberations. You may get on about the other person doing wrong, but it was really your fault, LaRon. Your behavior, your lack of respect, your lack of chivalry, you all that swearing words. Yeah, it was your fault, man. So yeah, unfortunate for Sheila, she got a bad look, but it seemed like not to matter for a lot of people. And LaRon, for what it's worth, bro, you got to keep a napkin on you. You please wipe your mouth. If you have a beard, you're a man with a beard, mustache, whatever, it can catch food, man. You got to wipe your mouth. You got to be mindful of how you're appearing in front of your date. That's simple. All right, so next we have Jonathan and April. April comes out and she says, have some insecurities, which makes sense as to the line of questioning that she has for the guys. But what April has to understand, she needs to have more conversation that brings guys in versus running them away. Because that intrusive type of conversation about background, everything like that, I think you can ask those questions once you know that person is comfortable with you. And you have to pay attention to the vibe you guys have between each other in order to make that decision. So next thing we had to meet the guys. The guys were deliberating. They decided to chose Koshia and April up for the top two. Now, everyone seemed to like Sheila. I mean, bottom line, everyone seemed like Sheila except for LaRon. So that should say a lot right there. Of only one man out of everybody doesn't like Sheila, that's an issue. Koshia, I understand why they put her at the bottom. She does have this personality this episode where it comes off as prove yourself to me. I don't have to prove myself to you. And that's just not how the way the real world works. Men need the understanding of who you are as a woman, what you bring as a woman. Just like you want to know what a man can bring to you as a man and who he is as a man. There should be equal exchange of energy there, equal exchange of vibe. So Rasheeah wasn't really given much of that. She was like, okay, you got to pull me in instead of her willingly going into conversations and having different type of discussions. April definitely understand. April, that whole conversation with Jonathan and the conversation with Lamar is what set the bar, for her. Like the fellas are going to talk about that. And that seemed like, even though we didn't hear other conversations that she had with other men, the other men were agreeing with that aggressiveness and that need to be a leader, that need to take over, that controlling factor that she was displaying. And then you can't have that in a relationship. You cannot have that. There can only be one leader in a relationship. As good as it sounds to say, oh, we both equally do this, we both equally do that, there still has to be a one decided leader. You have so much more peace in your household, in that relationship, when you make that decision. But the bottom line, nevertheless, Rasheeah and April were the bottom two, and April is sent home. Now, April was sent home, and she just does not like the fact that the men feel that she's not ready to love. She's being combative even on her way out. She's not taking accountability on her way out. That's the problem right there. And for people like that, you can't tell them that they're not doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? That they're doing wrong, because they're going to always feel like they're doing right. It's something wrong with you, not me. It's always going to be the other person. So I think April has a long way to go when it comes to finding love. She definitely would need to have somewhat like a beta male to make her happy. But other than that, I don't think that April is ready to love. I also, with Alonso's delivery to Rasheeah, that conversation that they were having about choking or spanking, and him wanting to make it seem like it wasn't something that dealt with intimacy, is crazy to me. Like, he didn't believe that. He didn't believe that, but he lacked accountability in that moment. And that's something that, as a man, you got to stand down on what you did. If you made a mistake, fess up to it, acknowledge the mistake that was made, apologize for it if you mean to apologize. Because I don't think you meant to offend her, but I think that he was just trying to backpedal himself out of it instead of taking that accountability and apologizing. And that is what ruffled Rasheeah. She came off as if he was playing her, like she was insulting her intelligence. And that's something that I don't think it's cool at all. I think he was trying to insult the intelligence for everybody viewing, because everyone else knew that when you bring up choking and smacking or slapping, that is definitely having something to do with intimacy. And especially if you ask her what's her preference. What's her preference? Come on, man. It was very, very clear what you meant there. So Alonso, man, you're gonna be that dude that's gonna get eliminated, man, because he don't know how to talk to women. Lamar's in conversation with April, he don't know how to talk to women either. It's really what it boils down to, fellas. We shoot ourselves in the feet when it comes to relationship because of that big thing. We don't know how to talk to women. We don't know how to relate to them in a communicative way. So until we get that right, you're going to always feel it's the woman's problem. It's going to always feel that it's just no good women out here. I can't find this, can't find that. We have to learn how to communicate better with each other. But that does it for this episode, man. I just think that all in all, I was right. I want to say this. I was right when I predicted April coming off the show this week. In my last video, I think for my prediction for next video for a man coming out, I would say it would be LaRon. I would say LaRon. I know a lot of people would say Lamar. I would normally say Lamar, but Lamar is also entertaining to the show. So if that wasn't a factor, then I would say Lamar. I think they'll keep Lamar on at least another episode, but I think LaRon will be one of the ones to come off because he's giving that energy. The ladies already seen him as a party boy, and that's just not a good look. But until next episode, guys, it's your boy Black. See you guys next week. It's been real. Peace.
Black. Black, black, black.